Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is the St Patrick's Day bank holiday weekend, which means I have an extra day off this week, and as promised I'm going to be preparing my bed and planting out my seed potatoes for the 2024 season. I'm actually super excited because this is the first crop that I'm actually sowing into my new allotment, so I'm really excited for that. I have a load of digging out to do because I'm going to be planting a very traditional way. I'm going to be planting the potatoes in drills, and I have a load of nettles in the bed that I want them to go into, as well as some dock leaves. And obviously through my research I have seen that the no dig method on perennial weeds isn't that effective, so I need to dig them out anyway. So along the bed here is where my potato is going to be going, and I have two big thick lines of weeds that I'll be digging out, so a lot of work ahead of me. But I've actually picked two varieties that I'm going to be planting. I'm going to be going for a second early called British Queen, for the sole reason that in my opinion it is the best tasting potato out there. I bought these seed potatoes from a local garden centre. It's a 2 kg bag that I have. They've been chitting away nicely in the bag. I would advise obviously taking out the bag just in case the chits actually grow through the mesh and then obviously break off when you try and take them out. But they've been absolutely fine, and it makes it a little bit easier than balancing egg cartons, bringing them up to the allotment. So they're absolutely fine, but I am really excited to get those in the ground. They should be ready in about 15 weeks from planting, and you can leave them in the ground up to 22 weeks. The second variety of potato that I will be planting is my main crop potato, which is called Sapamira. I grew these last year for the sole reason that they taste really nice. Well, two reasons. They taste really nice and they are really resistant to blight. We had a really early blight last year, and I'm really glad that I opted for that variety just for the reliability if there's a bad season that's in it. I don't typically grow in the ground. This is my first year doing it. I typically do these in containers. I am going to be saving a few seed potatoes to do them in containers at home just so I can compare the yields, but this is my own saved seed for the Sapamira main crop. It's chitted away really nicely, and I've got some good mixture of sizes. Ideally you will be looking for an egg sized seed potato as your optimum one to obviously plant out, but I have a mixture here and it'll be interesting to see how the really small ones do. And it's my own saved seed, so it's the first thing I've ever like saved to then plant on, so I'm really looking forward to that. So my tools of choice today, I have an edging fork. Is it an edging fork? Edging spade. I have a fork, a shovel, and my neighbour's pickaxe that he lent me. So I have all the tools. I've got my muddy boots on, ready to slip and slide around because it was torrential rain yesterday for in and around 6 hours. So the ground is very slippery, but I'm going to go straight in. I'm going to dig out as much as I can, and let's get going. The wind has just started picking up. I'm going to pop some headphones in to keep me motivated, and I'm going to get stuck in to dig in all of those nettles and docks out. So I just took a little bit of a pit stop. I had myself a little bit of lunch. I tucked into a little bit of leftover tandoori style chicken and some rice. So that is definitely going to refuel me, because I've been up here for about 3 hours digging out what's at the end of the plot, and I've only actually gotten sort of through the first sort of row of nettles, so it's taken a good bit of time and a good bit of energy. But I do have a flask full of tea, and I have 3 mini chocolate bars, not massive ones, 3 little kid-sized chocolate bars that I can have as a tea break, maybe around a couple of hours later. But this is the current status of how everything's looking. So I filled up a full wheelbarrow load, and I have just popped that out the front into a little pile. It's full of mud, it's full of worms. So I know a few of you said to hold on to the nettles, to obviously put into some liquid to make a nettle feed, but it's full of mud at the minute. So I'm just letting that kind of dry out a little bit, and then I'll bring it back in. And then this is how everything's looking here. So I've gone in and dug up most of the weeds that are closest to the bed that I've made on the left. And then I do need to now go in and tackle the right hand side, and then obviously loosen up the soil that's in the middle. So what I'm trying to achieve is basically that when I end up walking through this, that I basically get to a consistency where it's so nice and loose that I end up kind of like falling into the soil a little bit. It's exactly how I was taught by my family. So that's what I'm trying to achieve. And obviously with the downpour of rain that we had yesterday, the soil is definitely workable. It's not like it's drained, if that makes sense. So it's not like really difficult to get through. Just in general, the soil was just that little bit heavier. It's not so like loose when you're trying to lift it. So it is a little bit more hard work than what I'm used to, but I'm getting through it, and I'm feeling really positive because I feel like I'm just hitting the halfway point now. So it's looking positive to be able to plant my potatoes for St. Patrick's Day, which is tomorrow because it's Saturday today, and St. Patrick's Day is Sunday the 17th. I also pulled up a massive sheet of tarpaulin that I ended up putting down the edge of the plot, because after trying to dig out these nettles, I realised how difficult it actually is. So I was thinking, by putting the tarpaulin down at the very edge of the plot, you know, where the flower border is going to be going, I thought it might weaken the plants until I get a time to go over there. And I ended up putting it obviously in a weird place. It's like halfway up the allotment, but that's like where it's growing the most. And there's kind of gaps towards the edge of where the potato beds are, where there isn't a massive amount of nettles growing. So I put it over the worst part of the nettles, so hopefully that they'll cook under there and then they'll die, or at least be weakened when I go in to kind of dig them out. And then I also put in this bed down here, which I haven't actually shown you yet. So this was originally going to be my carrot bed that I spoke to you about in my allotment plan video, which I put up on last week. And I just realised that I don't think that's going to work for carrots, but at least it's suppressing the weeds for now, so that's a benefit. But I'm going to go back in and start digging the rest of the nettles on the second row and see can I loosen most of that soil. And here comes the 3-legged dog that I was telling you all about last week. Hello, mister. How are you? Aren't you so cute? We should give him a name. Hey. Hello, gorgeous boy. How are you? I wonder, would Roo want to be your friend? You're living your best life, aren't you, mate? You're sunbathing on my bed. You loved it on this plot, didn't you, baby? Yeah, little cutie. So I prepped all the beds yesterday, well, all the beds, the potato bed, and I've just given it another dig over, and then I've actually taken out the weeds at the fence line because I wanted to measure out and see how many rows I can get into that space. So I've spent the morning just doing another little dig over. Did have a bit of rain last night, so the soil is a little bit kind of claggy, is that the word I could use for it? So I've done that, and I've also popped in some bamboo canes just to mark out my rows. So I think I'm going to get 3 rows in. So I'm going to try and do 2 rows of my second earlies and then pull the fence out by April time and be able to put in my main crop furthest away from the shed. So that's the idea. I didn't have a proper measuring device, so I actually end up using my water bottle. Hello! I'm just going to wait for him to stop barking. He's very protective of me. So where was I? I didn't have my tape measure with me today, so I've had to use improvise and use a water bottle in order to obviously space it out. So I gathered a water bottle is maybe just over maybe a 30 centimetre ruler length. So I've done 2 widths of the water bottle to account for a 60 centimetre row. So that's my spacing. And then in between each potato, I'm going to space them 25 centimetres, which is roughly about my trowel length. So I'm going to use that for my spacings. And then I will do my 2 rows of second earlies closest to us, and then the main crop will be in the final row that's furthest away from us right now, where the fence line is, because it will allow me to be able to rip out the fence at a later date. I'm not in any rush to get my main crops into the ground. I do have up until April and actually even later to put them in, so I won't damage the plants if I plant them now when I try and rip up that fence and get them all the weeds and things out of there. So I actually planted main crop last year, very, very late. I think it was the end of May, borderline June, just to see how it worked. And given that they are a blight resistant variety that I'm doing for my main crop, they worked out perfect. So it's nice to be able to stagger the harvest. I don't need to get everything in now. And even if you don't have your seed potatoes right now, you don't even need to plant them this early. It's just something that I do because I do like to get a slightly earlier harvest. So there's still plenty of time to get your first earlies in, your second earlies in, and your main crop. So plenty of time. There's no rush. I just have 3 days off this weekend, so it just makes it a lot easier for me to manage my time and get them in the ground. And it's my first crop I get to grow here, so I'm really, really excited. I probably should mention it's actually day 10 today up at the allotment. I didn't count the seed sowing from last week because I didn't actually do anything physically working on the plot, and I'm kind of doing that as like a sort of like a tally or a milestone type thing, so that I can create maybe like a diary over X amount of days it takes me to get to like this place into some way of a sort of productive garden. So it's only a milestone for me more than anything, but if anybody is following the days, it's day 10, and obviously yesterday with all my digging was obviously day 9. So I am trying to put off the gardening job today. Just sipping on my coffee, chatting to you, because my body is feeling a little bit sore. I did 7 hours of digging yesterday to get all of those nettles up and out. I have never dug anything so difficult in my life. I did dig up at my parents' house when we put the spuds there, but they only had fern leaves, so they were relatively loose and easy to take out. But with the weather and the rain, the soil was quite heavy, and the roots were just something I've never gone at before. So I brought out everything. The pickaxe, the shovels, the forks, everything. I threw everything at it. So yeah, feeling a little bit sore today, so which is why I'm kind of like putting it off a little bit before I have to go back and start digging again. Just giving my time for my body to warm up a little bit, but I digress. Let's get in and plant the potatoes.
Appalachian sunrise meets my skin. Even with my eyes still closed, I can feel it coming in. Golden, golden, I'll follow only golden, 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 golden things. Mountain laurel high fives for miles in spring. Rainbow trout and a hummingbird wing. Golden, I'll follow only golden, golden, golden things. Gold hair, gold rings, gold leaves, gold anything, gold
And as simple as that, we have 2 rows of potatoes planted. I did just have to run into the shed because it has started raining and it is due to rain from now until the rest of the day. So I don't know if I'm going to get much more time outside, but I'm really pleased to have got those sorted today and got them in the ground, and then hopefully they will grow and flourish beautifully. I did actually meet my plot neighbours on the other side, which is so nice. Her and her husband turned up, introduced themselves, had a good old chat. He asked me, he said, I have one question, is the stuff at the end of the plot rubbish? And I said, yeah, is there something you want? So I helped him carry the generator into his garden because he said he likes to work on projects and wants to fix it. So I've given it to him so he can use. I said, the more he takes, the easier it is for me. So lovely to meet them, and they're really pleased that someone's taken on this plot because the nettle problem was a huge issue for their own plot last year. So I said I will do my best to obviously keep on top of that. So I'm really happy with the progress made today. If the rain stops, then I may run up to the mulch pile and see if I can get some mulch to put over the cardboard that I showed you yesterday, and if not, then I will leave it there for this week, and I will see you all next week for more antics up at the plot. See you then. Bye.